What's good, y'all? What's up with the chosen, For all my brothers and sisters, man, who are harnessing her energy, using it to, you know, amplify their protection. Where you are in the right, and keep doing that, family, The enemy, he wants you to become a drained being because when you're drained, y'all, now you're operating off of, a parasite or a parasitic, host. And that's why, they can't have you charged, family. Because once you charge up, well, you feel too good, right? And that energy that has no other way but to, show itself in your reality. You know, the goal was for the beings, the lesser beings, to control the advanced beings, y'all. Because think about it, y'all. For all of us, y'all, who are low, on energy, reacting with emotion, lost sleep, not having no self-awareness, right? Well, your power was given up because, you gave it up right out of your family by reacting, by, in awe, by, just sadness, y'all. But you must control that energy right there, y'all, because if you don't control that, the enemy will use, emotions from your vessel to get energy from you because, in the world that we are in right now, family, the enemy, he's hanging on by a thread, y'all. Summer's near and we're just living, rising, getting brighter, y'all. As the sun charges you up, chosen one, it's gonna charge you up, but it's not gonna charge everybody up, y'all, because not everybody can take that energy, y'all. You can't take that energy in, y'all, if you're not even gonna feed it to your subconscious. To feed it to your subconscious, y'all, is to go within, y'all. Do the shadow work, y'all. If you do the shadow work, well, then you make your life so much, less of a difficulty than what it has to be, y'all, because you know thyself, Once you know thyself, family, I repeat, y'all not gonna need nobody else, You have the Most High with you. That is your biggest, asset in the world because your enemy has been keeping the Most High away from you your whole life, y'all. The Most High, God, the ancestors, the angelic forces, nature, your ancestors, they live within you, y'all, because they put your body down here for you to experience Tiamat, right? So, the best thing to appreciate them for that is to take care of the vessel, speak with information that you have, y'all, You don't need friends and you don't need people that you gotta feed off of, You're a fucking battery. You're a full battery. You're fully developed once you know how to access that internal, generator, y'all. Your generator is like a golden color, but it has every color in it because you can turn any color, family, but you can't help nobody, y'all. These demons are gonna do what the fuck they want to, and right now, what they trying to do best, y'all, is provoke y'all. That's why they want y'all reactions. That's what they want, you to put your belief in what the fuck they speak on so they can manifest, shit for them. That's what they really are trying to do, y'all. They're like walk-ins, somebody that walks into your reality, y'all, and tries to control your energy based upon, the user's intent, family. But that shit ain't gonna work no more because we're stepping back into our power, y'all. We realizing there ain't nothing greater than us because you're the one busting your ass every day. You're the one getting up. You're the one helping the world, But your power, y'all, it comes from within you. And that's why everybody doesn't feel how you feel, y'all. People are gonna look at you crazy. People are gonna, want to stay away from you and shit because you feel too good for them to hang around you. Not because you're missing out, but because the Most High hasn't gave them that experience on this energy, They might not have self-control, y'all. So the Most High is gonna limit to how much energy they, are capable of requiring, Think about it like this, yo. If you have problems with controlling your desires, your flesh, whatever you like to do, the Most High is going to challenge you, and He's going to remind you that, well, if you want something, or if you're looking for something, you got to beat every obstacle and attack that was sent against your body. Because, yes, your body will be attacked, but what can't never, be fully attacked in a way to where you can't comply is your mind, yo. Your mind is going to be attacked, yes, but it can't be controlled unless you let it, because your mind can think about anything it wants, do anything it wants. You're a free thinker, chosen one. It should heat you up, yo, that they limit you on so much shit, They make you pay for everything. They make you, go out your way, yo, to struggle for the bare minimum, yo. And, you don't have to do nothing, yo, but you see it. And that's what it starts with, yo. Because once you see that, you realize that change is necessary. You don't have to change nothing physically, because once your spirit changes, everybody else's spirit is gonna feel that change, yo, and they gonna have to get right, yo, or they gonna get left behind, So now I want to discuss on why your energy is causing the great separation, y'all. The great separation, y'all, is awakening of individuals, and it's separating the masses from one side of the parallel. The parallel that lives here, y'all, are the motherfuckers that all they see is the world, their job, and just things they crave physically. That's 3D. That's the lowest experience you're literally experiencing. No motherfucker literally wants to live there their whole life, yo, because sickness, it dwells, negativity arises, and you don't find creativity or harmony in that 3D realm, yo. All you get is, problems, control, and just, acceptance, But, to rise out of that conscious or that, portal within you, yo, it's a dimension that you are stuck on. But your spirit can, rise from that, right? It's like, just look at life like in a way, tree. So a tree, yo, let's just say you see a tree in front of you and it's really big, right? Well, that tree, yo, it took time lapses to get there. Each phase had its own, you want to say prime, because you're in your prime right now. So that's what you literally have to do, family. You have to, tell yourself that, yo. You have to remind yourself that I'm in my prime. I am what everything is, And you must remember that your energy, y'all, is the great separation, because not everybody has energy like you, chosen one. Your energy is signifying, rich indeed. And you are rich indeed, y'all, because you're not lacking physically, y'all. You're not sick physically. You have energy, y'all. You can do what the fuck you want to do, right? Well, the great separation is important, because now that you know who's separated, well, the beings who are living on that lower dimension are going to only have so long but to get right, y'all, before the realm caves in on them or sinkhole starts sinking them in. What do you mean? Think about it. Well, I can't tell you to think about it, y'all, but for people on my conscious level, just, have an open mind when you, think about these concepts, because for a person, y'all, who is stuck on a lower consciousness, well, that's because where they're at, y'all, they're not where they want to be. They might be, but spiritually, no, because they don't know what more there is to life. There's so much that they gotta learn, right? Well, it's not their fault necessarily, but if they don't try to recover or want to gain, knowledge, guess what's gonna happen? Well, since the frequency is rising, y'all, the great separation is already occurring now. Well, places that are vibrating low, where there's more people, people who vibrate low, y'all, they push out a negative frequency to the realm, and the realm responds with your attacks, your disasters, tsunamis, floods, you see it. That's nature attacking you. And that's what I'm trying to tell y'all to get right now, because it's gonna get to a point, y'all, to where if you don't raise your consciousness, well, you're gonna be limited in this world until these disasters and nature itself removes you. Because if you don't ever work on yourself, family, there will get to a point in time to where you're not gonna be able to look at those, if you want to say greater beings, because their light is gonna be too much fucking, energy for you to even, want to even look their way. You don't have to believe this, but if you don't believe it, why are there people having umbrellas and shit in the sunlight? Why can't they look at the sun? Because they vibe too low to look at something with too much light, right? You are the children of the sun, chosen one. You came down here with suns in you. All you gotta do is activate them, enlighten them, and they will grow as long as you drink water and you come outside. But remember, I'm showing y'all what's gonna happen in the future as we're walking into it. I've seen this shit already, but I'm reminding y'all that it is important, because how are you gonna be able to get places, or how are you gonna be able to do things, y'all, if you can't even interact with beings, because your frequency is too low that you don't want to be surrounded by them, because they're gonna force your ass to reflect. That's just what it is, family. But this video was called why the Great Separation is affecting, the world around you. Because think about it, the Great Separation, y'all, is not only affecting you, but it's affecting everybody on a mass level, y'all. Because there's gonna be a lot of casualties if you're not willing to get right with the new world, No other way around it, y'all. You don't have to vibe to your very highest, but you gotta vibe to the frequency of the planet, the plane, or she's not gonna be suitable for you anymore, because now you're the only being creating toxics for this planet. And we can't have that no more, y'all. This planet is crushing, But this was a video, family. And, if you have stuck to the end, well, your power is in what you do within you, y'all. Because you have the power to build the energy up. Remember that. You can never run out of energy, y'all, unless you physically deplete yourself, or, you body swap yourself with somebody else. Don't do that, family. But keep your head high and protect yourself, y'all. Call your power back. Call your energy back. You gotta help the world, y'all, before the world, wraps you up like a mummy, and you're not gonna know what hit you, family, because it was too fast. I don't want no one to be left behind, family. But nature's gonna do what it's gotta do to help the beings rise, family. Remember that. I'll see ya, family. The Great Separation, it must occur, because for you to really be around your brothers and sisters, y'all, you gotta know that there's duality. So there's gonna be beings that are lesser, and they are not gonna be, warned about the world and its purpose and building. These motherfuckers are consumers at heart. They're destroyers. They're litterers. So they are literally in reverse of what you are. And that's where the Most High literally put a spark of itself in you to remind their asses, if they don't get it right, family, well, you will find out. But I appreciate y'all for watching, family. Keep your head high and stay within, y'all, so you don't lose yourself without.